for the session. I just, because for those who absent to the class, I just repeat the things because I forgot to put the recording button on. From this point afterwards, it is being recorded. I just repeat the things that I told you for the sake of learning uh, uh, for those who were already absent and those who have connectivity issues. Again, I have to repeat it quickly as I done a mistake. Right. So initially, what we were discussing about earlier, this one, where this at this point we stopped last time. Now today we have to start this point onward. From this point onwards, training methods. Basically, we were discussing about this. Uh, uh, in order to select the training methods, we need to consider several factors uh, uh, to select a training program. The main factor, supreme factor, is objective of the program. So depending on the objective, we have to select the training method, right? So training method, obviously, depending on, for example, we have skillful training, we have knowledge training, we have attitude training, right? So depending on the objective, we need to select the method. For example, if it is a skill training, maybe skill related delivery methods can be used. Simulation, most active form of methods can be used. Then you have given some example. One example, if the objective is to improve the interpersonal skills, then more active methods such as videotaping, role playing, or behavior modeling would be better choices. Then the next one is time and money available. Again, your budget allocated, your time available, availability, or the money availability, right? So depending on the time and money availability, the selection method, not the selection, training method need to be determined. So basically, even suppose now, uh, uh, sometimes you need to have expensive training from outside. So in that case, if you don't have the money, off the job training, for example, on the job training we have, on off the job training we have basically two types of on the job training and off the job training. Suppose you have to take off the job training, which is outside, which is foreign, which is a foreign training. For that you have to spend a much money, whole lot of money. The company can't afford that. So in that case, how we can do? Basically, you are supposed to develop in-house it, develop it in-house rather than expending huge money, especially in case of a recession. So therefore, money and time availability is important factor to be considered in selecting the training method. And also availability of other resources. I talked about the doctors in the Ministry of Health. Obviously, we don't have enough training facilities to specialized training for the doctors, consultancy training for the doctors. Obviously, they are sent to the foreign universities to have further training and for being experienced on a particular area. So rather than developing the training and development program in-house, what we do is we send our people to foreign universities, developed countries, and they have enough facilities and they have enough laboratory facilities. They are basically they allocate a lot of money for the development of people, for research and development basically. So those facilities are not provided in our context. In that case, what we can do is rather than developing in-house, we can send them, our people, to those organizations, right, to have the training. So that is done basically due to a resource in availability. Availability of other resources is like that. Those are that is an example for that. So therefore, basically, training methods can be determined based on the availability of resources. Then training characteristics and preferences. We have auditory learners, different characteristics. We have old age trainees, we have young trainees, and we have different patterns. We have different type of employees who have different learning patterns, like auditory, visual, kinesthetic, or reading and writing learners. And depending on the characteristic, we can simply determine the training method. For example, for those who preferred for the auditory methodologies, in other words, employees having auditory learning styles, we can simply select auditory method, right? So for those who are visual learners, we can select a visual learning method. Like for those who are kinesthetic, we can use behavior modeling or active form of role playing kind of training methods, right? So training characteristics is a significant factor to select the training method, and also preferences sometimes, as I told you, learners or the trainees may have different preferences depending on their learning style, depending on their learning behavioral type. Obviously, depending on that, the organization or the HRD professional need to select uh, the training methodology depending on their preferences. As I explained, for example, computer-based training require a fairly high level of literacy, for example, right? So, and I gave you the example of training the drivers, taking the computer aided instruction for training the drivers, obviously useless, ineffective. Why? Because the computer aided instruction requires a high literacy for the trainees to be trained, because they need to have uh, computer skills in order to access the computer and have the training, right? So therefore, computer aided instructions can be used for skillful learners, skilled learners, or the knowledge workers, especially, or the top level people, top level people, in the sense that those who are in the top level in the organization hierarchy, maybe knowledge workers, skilled workers, or at least middle level and above type of employees can be targeted for the training by this method. Right? So that counts for the preferences and the characteristics. Then preparing the materials, simply the training materials. If the method of training is the learning, the what do you call this? If the training method is auditory or the visual, then visual. Suppose the method participants are 100% of the participants are auditory learners. So in that case, what material we use, basically depending on the methodology, auditory methods can be used for the training. Then auditory related materials can be prepared. If it is a visual learner, then visual related materials can be used. So likewise, we can design the materials, reading materials or the training materials depending on the methodology. If suppose we have already decided to implement or decided to give a skill training, for example, then skill methodology, skill active form of like behavior modeling, outward bound training, we have decided to implement. Or basically, as the methodology, we have decided to use uh, active form of method like behavior modeling or simulation or activity based learning. So in that case, what are the materials that you can incorporate as the training materials? So obviously you can incorporate. There are various sources of materials that can be used for such training. Are there, like games? We can simply include business games, We can simply include simulations. We can simply include role plays, right? So all these, we can prepare the materials representing to all these, right? So for example, we can prepare a small case study to demonstrate by a role play, demonstrated by a role play. Or small videotape can be prepared to denote or to show the ideal behavior, which can be used for behavior modeling. Especially, suppose we are going to train models, fashion models. We are going to train the receptionist. We are going to train insurance agents, so sales agents. So then we can simply we can simply design a video material to denote the ideal behavior, to show the ideal behavior, job behavior. So then by looking at this, they learn. By watching that video, they learn the ideal behavior and they practice it, practice the ideal behavior. So simply by preparing a video, simply a video can be used, or video can be prepared to model the behavior. For especially training methods like behavior modeling, videos can be used, especially for for training the air hostess, for example. For training the air hostess, what type of training methods can be used? For example, for training the air hostess, simulators can be used. Simulations, I will let you know what the simulation is later on. Simulators can be used, and also behavior modeling methodology can be used for training the air hostess, right? So for that, in order to comply with the methodology that we use, training methods that we use, we can prepare the training materials. Apart from these, we can include the program announcement, syllabi, and training manuals and textbooks, right? So then program announcements, as you know, as I told you early, uh, the program purpose of the program, when and where it will be held, how the employee can qualify to participate in the program, can be included in the announcement, and that can be channeled to the respective employees through supervisory channels, union stewards, company newsletters, and organizations intranet, and or simply we can email the announcements to the respective candidates or the trainees' personal emails, office emails, right? So basically, the program announcements can be prepared after the material preparation. Then program outline or syllabi can be prepared. In that syllabi, we can include all the materials or all the things that we are going to cover in the training program can be included, right? So documents that syllabi or outline is a communication of the content, goal, and expectation of the program, and that is given at the beginning. For example, our C1 form or our course outline is a kind of a syllabi. Right. So basically, syllabi or the course outline include the program outline include the following: course objectives, topics to be covered, materials and tools needed, requirements of each trainee, and tentative schedule of events. Right. So the classic example is our program outline, a course outline, C1 form. And this is the main expectation of this type of a document is to have the punctuality, attendance, work habits, class participation, and courtesy towards the other trainees and courtesy of the trainees towards the trainers, right? So basic outcome of that is uh, those those outcomes or those uh, basically expectations, right? So why I can simply include a question on this particular slide, like what are the why the program outline is given to the participant. What are the expectations of program outline by giving program outline or syllabi to the participants, right? Simply, these are the answers. Then manuals and textbooks, obviously, uh, as in your C1 form or the course outline, you can clearly see uh, the textbooks recommended. Likewise, we can recommend some other reading materials in the training, basically, right? So in order to undertake further learning, so we can recommend some textbooks if required, and training manuals if required, and those can be prepared, for example. So if there is no any manual, training manual or textbooks, sometimes if the those are needed for the training, so obviously we need to find the textbooks from the libraries. What are the relevant reading materials, textbooks that can be recommended for this training, right? For example, if you are training teachers, A-level business studies teachers, then what on how to prepare the A-level paper. Suppose HR topic is there in the A-level paper. That is under the 14th lesson or 15th lesson, not 17th lesson in the A-level business studies syllabus. So suppose you are undertaking a training program to train the A-level teachers about HRM, Human Resource Management, that is covered for the A-level students. What are the latest developments in HRM? So in that case, the training program is already designed, and under the designing part, and now you are at this stage, right? So what stage? In this stage, training manuals and textbooks. Then what books that you are going to recommend for further reading, and what training manuals, for example, um, uh, that you recommend. For example, you as a training manual, you can recommend the teacher's guide that was developed by the NIE. And as the recommended book, you can use the standard textbook as the recommended book. Sometimes the Sinhala book written in Sinhala. Simply on HRM, especially written basically HRM related textbook written in Sinhala can be recommended, right? So these things, manuals and books recommended, can be incorporated into the content, and that can be done after the program outline preparation. Then the last point, scheduling the program. Basically, we can schedule the program during the working hours or after the working hours, basically. This must be decided very carefully, because our ultimate task is to get 100% involvement of the participants, right? So our task is to get the 100% participation from the employees or from the trainees. In that sense, scheduling is a critical factor, because our task is to motivate the participation. So in that case, the scheduling must motivate the participation. The time of scheduling must be a significant factor for the significant motivator for the participation of the participants, right? So therefore, we need to carefully consider about that factor, because suppose, for example, we schedule the program at a poe day or at weekends. So now, then obvious, suppose the training is going to be held only for females, right? Suppose our training is targeted for female employees in our company. Then we schedule the program at the weekends. Then what will happen? So obviously, majority will not participate, because as you know, uh, weekends females have lot of domestic responsibilities, household responsibilities. So in that case, they may not motivate to participate, right? So therefore, you need to highly think about the participation must be motivated by scheduling the program, right? So therefore, think about those aspects, and most convenient times for the participants can be selected for scheduling uh, the program. Please, you must highly weight on convenience of the participants in scheduling the program, right? Scheduling during the working hours or scheduling after the working hours. That must be done whether during or after must be determined based on the convenience, and that ultimately remain productive. That ultimately results the productivity of the program or the effectiveness of the program, right? Ultimately, scheduling in a bad time, inconvenient time, will result to the ineffectiveness of the program. So therefore, in order to make it effective, the scheduling plays a significant role. Right. So during working hours, maybe sometimes avoids outside conflicts, sends a message to employees that learning is an important part of their job. When scheduling during the working hours, HRD professionals should consider the following factors. When scheduling during the working hours, while working, you schedule the program, right? So basically, you need to think about these factors, days of the week, how many days that you are going to conduct the session, whether it is Monday, whether it is Friday, time of the day, whether it is in the morning, evening, or afternoon, peak work hours, tax preparation time, seasonal time, right? Peak hours, peak working hours, whether it is conducted in peak working hours or off peak working hours. Staff meeting times, whether it is conducted in staff meeting times. For example, as you know, on a regular basis, we arrange the daily meeting on a particular time during the day. Suppose early in the morning, before starting the work, we normally have a meeting, common meeting, formal meeting. So then in that meeting, whether we are going to conduct a small training session, right? So these things need to be determined whether the program is conducted at the meeting hours. For example, in our case, we have the faculty board once a month, right? Suppose we are going to conduct a small training session of 1 hour, right? So we can simply, because for the faculty board, all the lecturers are participated. So in that case, we can simply get the involvement of all the participants when we schedule the program during the faculty board time. Or we can simply conduct a training program in the department meeting. Once a month, we have a department meeting as well, right? So likewise, during the meeting times, we can arrange whether we can arrange or not. Or maybe we need to consider about the travel requirement. For example, if the employee is supposed to travel from Goal to Colombo, from Mathur to Colombo, we can arrange whether we can arrange at the weekend or during the working time. For example, almost all the employees are outside, located outside from the organization. In that case, when we organize the training program in-house, they have to travel. Maybe traveling is required. In that case, in order to make the training program more effective, we can organize the training program online at the weekend, right? So traveling requirements also can be determined. Then scheduling after the working hours, scheduled after working work or during the weekend in order to avoid some of the organizational constraints. This approach can create some problems. What are the problems? Extending the work day and work week can cause hardships for some employees, as I told you, because as you know, employees come to the organization on a regular basis, like Monday to Friday, they regularly come to the workplace. So in case of scheduling the program at weekends, the regular coming week is extended. up to the entire week. So then employee may be demotivated because they don't have time to have a rest during the week period, right? So once a training program is scheduled at weekends, so therefore maybe at poor days, for example, at holidays, employee may be demotivated to come. So then in that case, if you are scheduling, in any case, in the worst scenario, if you want to schedule a training program at the weekend, so you must have a incentive that must be given to motivate the participation. For example, you can simply introduce a payment for those who are participating at for the training at weekends, right? Suppose we can offer 50,000 allowance for those who participate for the workshop, right? One time 50,000 is given, attractive payment. So then people really motivate to participate, right? They just merely participate for the training program. Then finally we get something. The employees will get something from the participation. But in order to motivate the people, you must give an introduction. You must give an attractive package for participation if you schedule the training program at weekends, right? Or outside the working hours. There may be a strong motivation factor that must be introduced to the employees to participate. Or not the employees, the trainees to participate. This approach can create some problems. In order to avoid such problems, you can introduce a kind of a motivation or incentives to participate the training program. This can create fatigue. For example, fatigue, the tiredness. Uh, the employees may be physically tired from day's work and may not be mentally alert when the program is scheduled at the weekends, because for a long time period, for a entire work, the employee has worked for the entire week, right? From Monday to Friday, they have worked. Then when they come at the weekend, obviously they have already tired. So then obviously concentration may be totally out when uh, scheduling the program during the weekend, as because they have worked for a week, right, for the organization. So therefore, that's another problem. Having fatigue uh, uh, can cause basically when uh, scheduling the training program at weekends. That's another problem. And employees are reluctant to give up leisure time. So that is mostly happening. That is an obvious thing. They don't want to spend their later time for the sake of the organization, because as you know, as the labor legislations, employees are given the leisure time, right? So they don't want to spend their own leisure time on behalf of the organization. So in case if you want to get the leisure time, get their leisure time into work, obviously you must introduce a strong incentive, like giving a high financial sponsorship, or giving a high financial allowance, or giving a high uh, recognized certificate, highly recognized certificate that is targeted for the promotion, for example, right? So you can introduce financial and non-financial rewards. At least you can organize the training program in a hotel, 7-star hotel, 5-star hotel. So then people just merely participate, at least to have a lunch or dinner at this hotel, right? So you can simply organize the training program abroad, in a hotel in a foreign country, nice, in Switzerland, for example. In Switzerland, um, you can simply organize at the weekend, organize a training program during the weekend in a foreign country, right? So then they will obviously participate. Also, maybe sometimes you can give some incentives, like the trainees can bring their family members, and we can organize another training program for their family members and kids, right? While having the training program for the targeted employees, right? So then we can organize some get-togethers. Like various strategies can be used in order to motivate the participants as an incentive to participate, right? So that must be considered when organizing the training program during the weekends. Then, obviously, as I told you, organizing the training program at weekends is a significant factor that determines the effectiveness of the training program, right? So most probably, if you provide nothing and just merely organizing the training program or scheduling the program at the weekend and forcing the employees to participate, right? By forcing the participation, obviously you get nothing out from the training program, right? So obviously your training program already scheduled will be totally ineffective, right? So that is what is happening in our context. Normally, they don't have HRD professionals in practical scenarios. When you talk about the reality, what they are doing, especially when it comes to the government employees, all the training programs are organized at holidays and weekends, right? Holidays and weekends. And in some cases as well, in private sector cases as well, most training programs are organized at weekends and holidays. And the participants are provided nothing and they are by force. If you are not participated, you will have a pay cut. Most kind of punishments are introduced in our cases. They are not motivators, right? So people then highly value the punishment and they accept the punishment rather than just not participating, right? ඔය pay cut එකක් දුන්නාට කමන්නේ මට ඊට වැඩිය වටිනවා ගෙදරට ලයින් එක කියලා they don't go to the training program and they stay and they spend their time with the family, right? So they fulfill their family responsibilities. And even participated, they are not concentrating on the program, right? So they don't get nothing, right? So they get nothing uh, uh, from the training program. So that's why most of our training programs are ineffective uh, when they are scheduled weekends. So these things, as future HRD professionals, you need to really think about those things because your task is to get the training program or get the HRD program more effective rather than just because you are professionals. These things are given to you to be professional conduct, to have the professional conduct in HRD, basically. Right? So once you get this course and once you get the course content aware, uh, 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 fully understood the content of the course module, then you are professional and all these are professional things being taught and you are supposed to demonstrate the professional behavior in HRD in your future career endeavors. So therefore, please remember in designing or the scheduling training program at the weekends, you need to think about you need to always design all these things and determine all these criteria, all these, what do you call this, all these decisions regarding HRD programs need to be taken based on uh, uh, by thinking the employee side. So you must be highly weight the employees' perspectives. You must be think about only the employee, not only the organization side, but also the employee side. You need to concern about. You need to think about, right? Always you must be empathetic about the employee situations in scheduling the training program. Obviously, then you must be able to make that entire program effective when you are able to think or the when you are able to uh, be empathetic on the employee side when scheduling the training program at weekends especially, right? So these are the things that you need to consider about different problems created. One is fatigue, the other one is they are reluctant to uh, spend their leisure time on behalf of the organization. Then registration and enrollment issues. Then finally, you can enroll the participants and you can register and enroll the participants. It must be clear to participants and managers how one should register for the training, how is responsible for logistical issues, for example, travel arrangements, lodging, meals. All these informations regarding the arrangements, lodging, meals, everything need to be provided at the registration. What people are to do if they need to cancel or reschedule their training program. For example, in case if a participant is unable to participate, what actions that he or she can do, need to take, and those informations must be given at the registration. Whether they can retake the program, whether they can postpone the program, or whether they can participate as a newcomer to the in the other program. Likewise, for example, you have these options. Suppose for example, if you are not taking this course in this semester, right? So then what are the options that you are available? Whether you are considered as a failed student, or whether you are taken as a retake student, or whether you can be considered as a fresh student taking swapping this semester to another semester, and whether you are able to take the same course with the juniors. And so all these options are there in the bylaws in our degree program. So likewise, you need to have these informations as well. If in case if a particular employee or the trainee can't take, in case if they are unable to take this course or they take this program in this time, what are the possibilities that he or she is offered to take in future courses, course of future programs, that must be considered at the registration. And registration process become very easier and user friendly, right? Sometimes if the registration process is too lengthy and highly complicated, again the people may not participate, demotivate the participation for the program, right? So obviously, registration process must become very much easier and convenient for the participant. That is again is a factor to be considered, right? So this is a factor to be considered when you design the registration processes for a training program. So as when you must create the registration process as easier uh, as much as easier possible, right? So then people will motivate for the participation and registration. Especially these things need to be considered. Your email, internet, HRIS. Basically, simply you can ask the participants to register through your email, or maybe through your intranet, HRIS or HR system. Simply, they are not supposed to come to the HR department and register, or HRD department and register by filling so many manual forms. Obviously, just send me a mail, send us a mail and mentioning your key credentials, pre-informations, then you will be registered. Or simply by putting your name and telephone address, then we can get registered, right? So make the registration process as much as easier. Done.